Howdy, how did you? Alright, so had technical issues with the last client's reading, and I was actually probably like 25 to 30 minutes into a second half of her reading when apparently the phone just, the camera just stopped filming for whatever reason. Probably a goof on my end because I am not quite sure of what I'm doing right now. But yeah, so this is the affirmations portion. I have the Witchlings deck, which is just, it's full of loads of personality, charm, character, very feel-good vibes, cute as well. And then also Alana Fairchild's White Light Oracle Guidebook, which I originally had bought it. It was an impulse buy because I adore the illustrations. But apparently this is a book about healing. So it's the different venues within spirituality and the spiritual life in which a person can heal. And also, which areas it'll highlight and also your progress. So I already pulled the cards. I'm not doing that nonsense again where I was shuffling the cards until I have something like, an actual camera set up to where I can freely use my hands and not have to hold the camera aloft. Okay, anyway, all that aside, let's get to it. This is affirmations for my client. So the first one I pulled for her, positive attributes. Perhaps I just focused on positive attributes for her. I didn't so much like ones she needed to develop or ones she needs to keep in mind. But the first one is meditation. Oh, why is it so blurry? That's another thing about getting an actual camera. Why is this blurriness? What is it? But meditation makes me sad you can't see the artwork either. That's the worst part. The artwork's very blurry. A meditation will transport you to a place of bliss at any desired time of the day. Yes, what they refer to as meditation, another equivalent term, such as within Roman Catholicism, is contemplation. This is the height of intellectual capacity within man, and it also is receptacle to intuition, the noetic, and gnosis. Yes, so that is a very important trait to develop. All the major religions have structured within their practices the means by which to gain this state, this holistic state of knowing, or the receptacle. It's not so much knowing, but the receptacle state that'll get you there. And then, of course, we'll read the little booklet. Where is she? Where's our little meditation girl? Okay. So, meditation is not just a journey, but a shedding of worry and stress. Jasmine attunes her mind often to keep herself safe from distress. Meditation, a key element for self-healing, is a wonderful stress-reducing break for any time and anywhere. Daily meditation is to the mind as daily exercise is to the body. It isn't complicated to learn because it doesn't require any special equipment and asks only for your attention and focus. Meditation brings with it a sense of calm and is a gift to your overall well-being. It helps you gain a fresh perspective on life so that you can get through your day with more energy, peace of mind, and sense of purpose. It'll help you learn how to transform your thoughts from negative to positive, from unhappy to happy rather, and from tired to energetic. There are endless benefits, including strengthening of the immune system, the curing of headaches, a decrease in restless thoughts. With regular meditation, you'll tap into the place of magic within, and you'll live in the present moment with a deeper understanding of yourself and others. And then the rest are spells, so I'm just going to ignore that. So, knowing my client, I'm sure she used to have this practice in her life, and this is just an indication, considering how haphazard and this kind of dark night of the soul journey she's been through with AA, that she needs to reincorporate whatever form of meditation she was utilizing previously, just to clear up that mind space of, monkey mind is the term in Buddhism, in which the contentiousness, the impulses, the compulsions, what have you, are sending your mind reeling a mile a minute. It's snares, as it were, in Roman Catholicism, from demons infiltrating our souls, things like that. But yeah, I'm sure this is a very clear message for her, because I'm sure I wouldn't doubt if she had that practice in the past. I also drew Astro Soul Oracle clarification as well as Rider-Waite, and for this card I had Aquarius reversed, and I also tried to pull 2 Rider-Waites, but I went ahead and I accidentally pulled 2. So to me, this is a very clear message, and everyone needs to heed this advice. I need to heed this advice to get into that deeper contemplative receptive state. Requires unplugging from the computer. Aquarius for technology, it's an air sign, especially in terms of networking and information gathering and like tribal groups on the internet. Definitely an Aquarian card. Social media, the humanitarian, a highly social card. Page of Swords, again, airy element, and as if you watch any tarot reader on YouTube, this is a notorious card for lurkers, stalkers, checking out social media of people. So we very much see a clear indication here that to get into a proper place so that we may deeply meditate and contemplate upon reality as a means to enter a kind of prayerful state to help deeply heal our souls and our psyches, to cut the bullshit with the internet. So that's fairly straightforward. And then, of course, we have the Sun, which I see this client going on regular adventures with her husband, like out in the mountains and whatnot. So she very much enters a clearing meditative state within her psyche, just out in nature and out in the sun and warmth. That could be the natural level of this interpretation. On a supernatural level, of course, this is a re-emphasis on a spiritual practice for her to better connect to divinity within herself, so that she may be that child of God to where she can freely practice her gifts with little or no remorse or guilt, especially from asshats on the computer. So if you want to be this state, which is what meditation will lead you to, you gotta cut the shit with all the narcissistic, demonic assholes on the internet and just drop the internet in general. I also heard that she indicated to me she likes to watch TV shows on Netflix. Yeah, who doesn't? But there is an indication here to disconnect from that as well. It would be within your best interest to go back out into nature and also to study spirituality, perhaps prayer books, things like that, to get into that deeply contemplative, meditative state. Because once you have that detached higher self that can freely roam in these meditative states, you're less likely to fall into the snares and temptations of biases, which can lead to all forms of addiction. So yeah, that's pretty good. I like that. Great pull. What else do we have here? So we also had intuition. Man, I'm so sad that this camera's blurry and I can't fix it. I don't know what I'm doing. Let's see. The power of intuition will light your path, providing a connection to the divine. And what's pivotal, of course, to have ready access to intuition, to have those deeper psychic knowings, that those little blips of gnosis, those little downloads, again goes back to a proper habit of entering that receptive, meditative, contemplative state. So these tie together very well. Very pleased to see that. And let's see, intuition. Let's see. So whether you're aware of it or not, you have psychic powers in the form of natural intuition. It's those routine day-to-day distractions and demands that often keep you from tapping into those amazing natural abilities. The trick to learn how to switch gears so that you can ease out of the outer world and connect with the mysterious inner world. Intuition is drawn from the universe of greater knowledge, which is accessed by the subconscious. It's the sixth sense that gives you the ability to connect to the guiding part of you that has access to all you need to know. As you become in touch with your intuitive self, you'll become more attuned to receiving information. The power of intuition will light your path and will open the doors of the mind. Perform one or, and yeah, those are the spells. So, there's a lot of theories on what intuition is. My favorite is from the Orthodox and Roman Catholic understanding, which is intuition is received within the seat of the noetic, which is one's heart, and to pierce through the essence of things does require a certain charitable attitude, which is kind of that vulnerable, receptive state that you are opening up with meditation. Intuition, it could be argued that we naturally have something we would term intuition with, we have a very particular wiring of neurons within our gut, which is where the term gut instinct comes from. That's rather a form of instinctual knowledge, which to me would be subconscious. Intuition is more holistic than that, and in my experience, it is better parlayed within higher levels of consciousness. What am I trying to get at here? Wow, I just lost my train of thought. I am so beat to crap. I'm sorry. But intuition as well. Gosh, my brain just totally farted. Wow, I'm not editing that out. My client can laugh at me. I'm sure she gets it. But this is a pivotal tool also on the healing journey and within any spiritual journey. It is the height of what is called discernment, the reading of spirits, the reading of what inspires a person, an object, a thing, a text. This is pivotal. It's pivotal to, once again, staying away from those snares of vices that become a vicious cycle, and all of a sudden you're addicted to something. So intuition is king in terms of information gathering and knowledge, because it simply is direct from source, and it's just a question of your receptivity, which, again, if you practice this, you'll be readily privy to this. But what does this mean that this is happening to me? But intuition also, this is what I was going to say. So of course we confuse kind of that instinctual gut instinct information that is gathered from that neural patterning and operational function with the gut, which is more, it's deep, but it's instinctual, which to me, arguing with this book, that's the natural. Intuition is a supernatural form of knowledge gathering, gnosis, that is a part of the intellectual faculty, and it is the king of epidemiology. Did I slaughter that? Possibly. It is the king of it, and it is not natural, but supernatural. Now, of course, for you to have access to a supernatural means, a divine means of information gathering, again, going back to this, you just have to practice that, which all major religions have certain protocols with which to practice to become, to have access to that state, and then to have access to these downloads of blips of gnosis, as it were, theosis. There's so many theological theories on these things. I ramble, but I hope that was interesting. I do it for this client because I actually have these conversations with her. So anyway, so Saturn was the Astro Soul Oracle card I pulled to clarify this. Saturn, of course, is boundaries, limitations, delays and responsibilities. And again, I pulled two Rider-Waite on accident, so I just went ahead and kept them, and let's see what those were. The Two of Pentacles, the Six of Cups. Oh yes, I remember what this is. So for me, with the Two of Coins and Saturn, this is again a major emphasis on discernment for me, spiritual discernment. I very much get the sense that you're one of these New Age types. It's very common within the New Age community, especially on the basis of excusing evil with karmic bonds or karma or whatever concepts these people want to throw out there to rationalize things. There's a part of you that believes that the idea that this relative world, this soul, this college of the soul, as it were, this world, is highly relativized. At the surface of the 3D manifestation world, yes, it is highly relative, and it dwells within accidentals of forms. It's highly particular. There's a part of you that has an issue with discernment, seeing straight to the inspiration of and the spirit of a thing, form, appearance, what have you. And the reason is because this concept of the preternatural versus the supernatural, the light versus the dark, the good versus the evil, seems rather infantile to you. Like maybe there was a major moment within your childhood to where it was so someone's understanding or portrayal of dualism was so comical, you were like, well, I'll never think of that again. This is a foolish adult. But here we're seeing an emphasis that you may want to shift gears on that in your meditative state, because once you do have access to intuition, you're going to start getting access to things that are extremely, well, both ends, both ends of the spectrum of dualism, but it's how this world operates, whether you like it or not. Now, I've conversed with her. I think she knows what the more that I'm privy to a more esoteric knowledge of what Saturn means, especially in terms of institutions in our world. And I've spoken with this to her about this before, but she really needs, if you're going to tap into your intuition, not only as a means to see through to the end of your healing journey, it unfortunately takes a spiritual understanding of the dark versus the light, the preternatural demonic forces versus supernatural angelic forces, etc., etc., because it is that type of world. And I feel like something happened in your childhood to where someone was very flippant about these things, and of course you thought it was stupid, or you thought it was dumb, or you thought it was counterintuitive. You thought it was counterintuitive. So you kind of toss this whole notion aside. But I can tell you right now that while there are things relative within the world of creation in the 3D, and the world of the spirit, it most certainly is not. It is the preternatural versus the supernatural. So that's my advice for that pile. All right. And now we have Beauty, which when I was first filming this reading and I had affirmation cards and I was blathering to myself, totally dumb and blind to the fact that the camera had long since turned off, I did pull Beauty, and the indication I got intuitively back then, let's see, Beauty is felt from within, your gorgeousness will glow. And the little booklet, it also emphasizes not just developing inner beauty through strength of character, integrity, feminine wiles, developing your inner gifts, yada, yada, yada. There is an emphasis on the outer too in terms of diet and exercise and what have you. And what struck me initially was you're a vegan. I'm not quite sure about that, or maybe you were in the past and with your husband your diets changed, but I get the distinct intuitive sense of a lack of protein in your diet. Now, of course, this is for entertainment purposes only. I am not a dietitian. I have studied this stuff on my own. I more side with Atkins and paleo diet, but I get this distinct sense of a lack of protein. And of course, if you incorporate protein in your life, it'll strengthen your nails. You'll have the collagen intake. Your hair will look fuller and more lustrous. But that's a distinct sense I get for her in particular. Now, of course, like I said, it also emphasizes inner beauty, developing virtue, developing strength of character and integrity, developing inner gifts, kindness of the heart, etc. Those will cause that inner glow to emphasize whatever beauty is within your physical features. It will simply beam out of your face. And let's see, the tarot was Star, and the Astro Soul Oracle was Pluto. So Pluto, of course, is scorpionic, profound transformation and rebirth. I think coming out of this healing journey, a way within which you can kind of goose yourself up for having completed this AA journey, is to maybe look into fashion and maybe profoundly changing your fashion sense. Like maybe that'll help. Again, with creative free expression, there's an element to that with clothing and style and also makeup. You may want to look into that. And if you're thinking, oh no, that's way too glitzy for me, it's not like I'm a movie star or anything, there's an indication here with the star that it's so profound, a spiritual healing and reconnection back to the divine within, that if you're receiving that indication to like even revamp your wardrobe or how you style your hair or wear your makeup with this new self, the rebirth, go ahead and do it. Like it's giving you the full green to go ahead and do that, because it is something of a new self once you're through with this healing journey and you have fully healed. So that's what I saw for that card. And then there's a final one, which is happiness. Yes, happiness, and her message is, if happiness is what you want, then happy you shall be. Fairly straightforward, but let's see here. Let's see what the booklet says. So let's see. Thriving in the adventurous creativity of the spirit. Happiness is an overall state of being. Happiness isn't found, happiness is made. Created from the internal workings of the mind, happiness is a journey towards self-love. Treat yourself well and live moment to moment with a peaceful heart, maintaining a happy relationship with yourself. Pave the way to a life of happiness by doing what carries the most meaning to you and what brings you, in caps, the most contentment. So that's fairly straightforward. That's part of addiction is an overemphasis on materiality and this worldliness. And I can tell you right now that what we term as happiness is very much it's a transcendental state, at least in terms of euphoria and bliss and joy it is. But to achieve happiness, you just, again, it harkens back to that 12th house I surrender card that I pulled for you. It is a full surrendering of your entire self, your past selves, those dead selves that we've had to shed, the trauma, everything, all that contention within ourselves, surrendering it to that higher divine power, to be quite honest with you, to faith, to hope, to love. And when you practice those virtues within yourself, it revamps your entire perception. And they do kind of indicate cognitive therapy there. I don't personally know too much about cognitive therapy. I don't want to ruin what it does, but it does have an emphasis on thinking. If you are, I know you're a Virgo, or you have yes, you're a Virgo. So similar to me, you can have intrusive thoughts that are extremely self-critical. That's the nature of the perfectionistic Virgo. To get out of that state, you just need to argue with profound acceptance for the state of life, because as we all know, all us wiser folk know, this is a broken world. It's an imperfect world. And no matter how much all of us rearrange the chairs on the sinking Titanic that is the material world, it is not, there is no guarantee it's going to grant us this, now is it? And that's also kind of a tenet of Buddhism as well. That suffering is that over-attachment and that desiring for things of the material world. And, oh, once you get it, it's not perfect. And, oh, it's, it's an empty feeling. Well, to have this fulfilled happiness feeling, it's just from the repositioning of a place of radical acceptance, as well as surrender to divinity and how this world unfolds its events. And of course, again, an emphasis on developing your inner gifts. You have a soul calling. You have fulfilled them before. You're an artist. You're a poet. You study astrology despite how it's lambasted and criticized by the normies. You are perfectly capable. Somewhere along the way, you had forgotten that. I think you became too emphasized within the material world. Which is fine, because we have to develop that ego so we can survive, so we can draw our pictures, write our poetry, yada yada. But you went in too deep, and you were so hard-headed dwelling within the material world. That's why you escaped your sorrows to the bottom of a bottle. But again, to achieve happiness, it's very much just an attitude thing, and it's an attitude of surrender to divinity, the virtues of love, hope, and faith, despite how the world is trending and however everyone around you is behaving. Hey, it's a world of entropy, and it's just as time passes, it's just kicking into high gear. So if you're looking for paradise on Earth, the arrangement of all the deck chairs in such a certain way on the sinking Titanic that is the material world, you are not going to secure this, because this is something of a transcendental state. So again, just follow your soul's calling like you did when you were younger. Think back to memories of childhood when you first experienced those inclinations and when you felt the joy of having followed through on a project, things like that, and it'll quickly remind you that you're perfectly capable of this by yourself. You don't need your husband, a job, team worker, team members, any of that stuff. This is all on you. This is all on you, and our world does not want anyone privy to